people would stop. They'd maybe get some bales of hay. They'd get a few bags of oats, and more often, and quite often, increasingly, I would notice people would ask me. They were interested in what we're doing. They said, can I just buy like chicken feed from you, or is that I'd like to be able to do. I had people, I'd like to be able to do that. Could I do that? I said, well, not right now. I don't have any available, but and so I just started learning about it, and so we were getting that kind of feedback from people, and then last fall in October, right after we launched our website, the first person that sent us an email through our website had seen one of my business cards at a little grocery store over at Jessup, Iowa, and they noticed that I talked on there about bagged grains because we could bag corn and sell it and oats and and this lady called me and she said, "Wow, I really like what you're trying to do there. I'd really like to buy grain from you. I'd really like to buy feed from you." And because she had sheep and horses and chickens and so I had her come over to my farm one day. And Jane and I had a nice visit with her one day. In fact, we had just gotten our mixer and our roller mill. They were still sitting on pallets in the shed. And I remember talking with her around those things. I said, you mentioned feed the other day. Well, we just got these two pieces of equipment the other day. Aren't ready to use them yet, but we're thinking maybe we ought to set them up and actually start a feed business. Would you be interested in are you really interested in buying feed from us if we do that? I said, yeah, I am. And I know other people that are too. And
If we were going on a trip somewhere, coming back, we stopped at every convenience store between here and there so he could hang up a little bunch of cards on their bulletin board, and we knew which ones you could hang up at and which ones you couldn't. And so um, that's kind of how it started. And
our feed license is just for non-medicated feeds. We don't mess with medications. We don't use preservatives, so we don't grind and mix a lot of feed and set it on a shelf for 6 months. We work with people and we grind small batches as they need them, and over time we've kind of figured out who needs what and when, and people work with you, and it's just been growing. I mean, since April, our business has doubled and tripled what it was before April since then on a monthly basis, and it seems like there's a lot more out there we can tap into if we can find a way to expand our production capabilities. We have a marriage of non-GMO grains and organic supplements. For a lot of people, that's enough. We're able to sell it a lot cheaper than what full-blown organic feed is, so there's a lot of people that buy it and are very happy with it. But it appeals to a lot of people that are raising their own food. You've bought some chicken feed from me. It's nice to know what's going into the animals you're going to eat or you're going to eat the eggs from. Or you don't see a feed mill here, right? And there isn't one. We started with, I've got a 10,000 pound platform scale. It's a legal for trade scale. We've got a couple other smaller scales. We've got a bagging hopper and a bagging scale. Started with 6 and ended up with 10 new Pro boxes. In case you're wondering, if those ever had treated seed in them, I didn't want to take that chance. I went out and bought 10 new ones, and they have been wonderful for going over to the bin and grabbing 40, 50 bushel of corn or oats and soybeans, and we can put them there, stack them up with our forklift. They keep mice out. They're real handy to come over and weigh a batch out on the scale, and then we'll go outside here in a minute, and you'll see our simple little grinding and mixing setup. But we bought this old Clipper fanning mill last year from an estate sale, and we just started using it the way it was designed. All the clean grain would drop down into this little bottom here, and you'd have to shovel it all out. And if somebody just wants 5 bags of oats, it's not a big deal, but my word, that turns into a lot of work if you want to clean enough oats to supply a feed business, or somebody wants 10 bags of oats and they want 10 more next week. And so anyway, my boys, Matthew and Andrew, so from the tornado, we still had some old junk pieces of equipment sitting around from the tornado back in '08. One of them was this thing, the bottom of this thing. It used to look like that. the barn, part of the barn fell on it in the tornado and smashed the whole drum in, ruined it. So it had just been sitting in the weeds for years. At one point I thought we were just going to get rid of it and junk it. Well, one day Matthew comes up to me and goes, "Dad, I think we could maybe use that for something." I said, "Okay, well, why don't you? I don't do what you want to do." So they built a platform on that thing, and they tore the bottom out of that clipper, and they mounted that up there. And now we can use what used to be the screenings hopper to actually catch all the clean oats, and we can run them into a pro box or into a wagon, and you know, you can take that old clipper now. We're easily able to max out and way more of the stated capacity on that thing just because you don't have to shovel anything away from it. So uh, kudos to my boys for that one. They put their heads together and built that, and we wanted to get more of our own livestock down the road. And I thought, all we've got is a hammer mill right now. I know there's a lot of extra things you can do with a roller mill. Maybe we should get one of those. So I ended up buying both of those things. They shipped them to me on a couple pallets, and they were just sitting in the back of my shed when this whole feed business got hatched. And one thing led to another. My boys built this trailer and found a way to mount that thing and mount this thing, and I wired everything up, and it's just an old wagon running gear with some old beams out of our old corn crib that blew down in the tornado, and but that mixer, that's an electric mixer. It's an electric roller mill, and then so we can mix about, depends on the feed, the fluffiness of it, anywhere from 1,000 to 1,300 pounds of feed at a time in that thing. Anyway, we started our business last fall with that, just roller milling chicken feed and a little bit of goat feed, and that was the majority of what we were doing up till this spring, when people started getting broilers, meat birds, and remember we made our first batch of broiler feed with our roller mill, and one of the customers said, "Hey, it seems to be a little too coarse for the little chicks. Can you make it finer?" Well, I didn't know if I could. I didn't have a thought, well, maybe we're going to have to use that. Maybe we're going to have to pull the old grinder out and use that. But I didn't really want to do that, because one of the things we can do here is we can very easily mix a batch, clean everything out, and not get any cross-contamination from one type of feed to another. It isn't so critical with some things, but with other things it's very critical, like with goat feed. Anyway, so got on Craigslist again. Found this little hammer mill. Normally it would have been $12,000 new. I got it for $2,000, and it's got a 20-horse three-phase motor on it. Came out of a hog farm down by, they used to have their own feed mill years ago. Mothballed that about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It was the only thing they had left from their old feed mill. I went down, Jane and I hopped in the vehicle one night and went down and looked at it. Said, "I think we need that." So I bought it, and we came down and got it and found a place on the trailer to mount it. So now we can, well, so basically if we want to mix, let's say we want to mix 20 bags of layer feed, we'll go weigh out all the grain ingredients for that on our scale in a pro box. We'll come out here and we'll put it up on our forklift, and we'll drop it all through either the hammer mill or the roller mill, depending on what we're making it for. Catch it in another pro box on the bottom, a half a pro box, and then we'll lift that up and we'll dump it in the mixer, put all of our supplements in, mix it up, run it out the conveyor, dump it in a pro box, dump that in our bagging hopper, bag the feed. If you want to direct market, you got to be willing to be flexible, and you got to be willing to deal with people. If you don't want to interact with people a lot, if you're not comfortable doing that, you might want to avoid it. But if you're good at working with people, it's really fun. I just love meeting new people and working with them and seeing people benefit from what we're doing here on our farm.
The marketing part of it is huge. It's a lot of work. I think you need somebody who has. If you're not good at it, find somebody who is, that can help you. Because if it were up to me, I can make little pamphlets and business cards and whatever, but I don't like talking to people on the phone. That's not my thing. So, it works out well that he does.